This week on Fade to Obsidian, we will be discussing Dark Age chapters 15 through 30. We recommend that you have also read to this point in the book to avoid any spoilers. Please be aware that this episode contains discussions about violence and death, as well as strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Fade to Obsidian. I am Crescent, as always, and I am joined by Skipper. And
Hello.
Today we are joined by Drillbit.
Welcome, Drillbit!
Yeah, your first entrance onto Fade to Obsidian.
First podcast
Super glad
ever.
to have you.
First podcast. Aww.
Ooh,
We're honored.
Pop my cherry. Yep.
Yeah. Well, who are you? Why are you Drillbit? And what are you drinking tonight?
Okay, who am I? I am, my real name, my government name, as we like to joke about, is Thomas Pratt. I live in Nebraska. I'm a dentist. I actually got into Red Rising through a buddy of mine that I met at a Star Wars convention. And he's like, "Have you ever heard of this book?" And I'm like, "No." And he kind of gave me the quick, and I fell in love with it. Drillbit actually came from one of the Red Rising Facebook groups. I don't even remember which one, but it's like, "Hey, introduce yourself." A lot like what we do in the den. And only my synopsis was about that long, and they're like, "Real quick," and I'm like, "I'm a dentist. I like whiskey. I'm loud. And I am not the biggest person alive." So I don't even remember. Like I said, I don't even remember who it was. But she's like, "Drillbit, you're small, you're loud, and you're obnoxious." I'm like, "And you're a dentist." I'm like, "Okay, then I'm Drillbit."
Nice.
And I loved it so much. Like I read it and I'm like, "That is perfect." Nope. We're sticking with that. I don't care. About the only person who could change is maybe Pierce. He might be able, if he looked at me and said, "No, you are now blank," I might change. I might willingly change it, but otherwise, nope. It's so perfect. And
I love it.
so yeah, I'm small, I'm loud, I'm a dentist. Yeah. In my glass tonight is Driftless Glen. It is a rye whiskey out of Wisconsin. I picked this up through our local brewery, Pals, which their thing is everyone comes in a stranger, everyone leaves a pal. And I love that place. The atmosphere is awesome. The food is delicious. There's pizza and nachos. Their microbrews and their ales are a kick in the ass. I can drink 2 and I'm done. But I like their
13%.
Yeah.
No, but there's something else in them, man. Like everyone around here agrees that if you go into Pals and you have like 3 or 4, you're going to get palled. There's a lot of people who black out after having 3 or 4. And normally, they're all right, whatever. Around here, drink a 6-pack, no big deal. But they're like, "Dude, I get 3 in and I get fuzzy." And so, the Ubers and the Lyft people, they know Pals very well. But my favorite thing to drink out there, my favorite thing to drink there is an Ottinger Old Fashioned. And the Ottingers were the family one of them that established Pals. They moved in from Wisconsin. They make sure that there's fresh cheese curds that are shipped in every day. And they like their whiskey as much as they like everything else. So they have a whole line from their Driftless Glen people they work with, and when I tried this out at the last holiday party, I'm like, I'm buying a bottle of that, and I think it's for $7.50. It's like $46, so it's not expensive, not for good whiskey, and it's pretty tasty.
I like it. Nice.
Skipper, what you drinking?
I just randomly, I had like a whole plan that I was going to do something coffee flavored because we get the Sparrow coffee versus tea discussion in this. And then I do have a bunch of stouts, but they're all chocolate stouts. And it was a last minute decision to just grab the Ardbeg that's hanging out behind me. So I've got Ardbeg I do also, and we'll discuss after what Crescent's drinking, the cookies, because we'll have to bring them up. They are sitting here, but I had to do that after the last episode of put one in the yard bag. Doesn't go. So I will probably be eating them individually. I'm just eating an Oreo while drinking scotch. So there you go. Crescent, what do you have?
We think alike. Nika coffee malt whiskey.
Ah, there you go. I like it. Yeah.
And I shipped this one to myself.
Oh, there you go.
Admission, I hate coffee.
Oh.
Attaboy. Yep, don't like coffee.
First of all, how dare
Good.
you?
Yeah,
I know.
Second of all,
My
convictions.
right. My grandmother had coffee always brewing in her house. I love the smell of it. I will smell it all day. I will snort that stuff, but I will not drink it. I don't like the flavor.
Interesting. You are the. What did you just do?
For some reason, this bottle's a twist-off cap, and I dropped it.
Oh.
Terrible.
I am very much a coffee person. So do you like tea? Like, are you the opposite of Severo?
I can drink tea. I don't mind it, but no. Honestly, okay. I'm one of those weird morning people. I'm out of bed and I'm ready to go. Yeah. Like, if I have to do something, like, I don't mind. V8 makes an energy drink, which is basically juice with caffeine in it. And before I go for my runs, I'll put one of those down. And if I really, really have to make sure I stay awake, I might put down a Reign, one of their energy drinks. But even then, those are few and far between. I will drink water. I will drink whiskey. I will drink Dr. Pepper. I love that stuff. But coffee, no. Tea, it's okay. Usually tea is what I'm drinking when I feel like crap.
Yeah.
And I'll spike it with honey and like an apple whiskey or something like that, so that it can kind of open up stuff. But otherwise, I don't drink a lot of either.
Nice. Yeah. I'm a big just warm drink person. Like, I just coffee, tea. Sometimes at work, I'll just drink hot water. And then, like, employees will come in and be like, why are you just sipping hot water? And I'm like, because I've hit my caffeine max of the day. And I just want a warm beverage. So I'll just drink hot water.
That's a coward's answer. What the fuck's a caffeine max?
Got me, man. I will say I like hot chocolate, and I like to put Bailey's in it.
Yes.
Or eggnog, or some additive. And it's so funny because we're doing all the din dunk stuff, and Hydro and I got to talking the other day, and she's like, well, "What else have you tried?" I'm like, "Oh no, I've been dipping Oreos in Bailey's for a long time." And she's like, "Wait, what?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's where the bubbles come from. Is you put the Oreo in the Bailey's long enough to let the Bailey's soak in, and then you're good to go." And I'm old enough to have tried this stuff. This is not new. It's just you all are catching up with me.
Oreos and Bailey's I've definitely done. I'm now sitting here thinking that maybe if we have a break somewhere in this, I'm going to go grab Kahlua. Because I think I have Kahlua and do Oreos and Kaluas. Let's talk the Den Dunk, because you were the first one to do it. It was part of your Hazard Bedlam, which ties into, for all we know, because you have triggered this, Pierce may rename you, because that is what you get when you win Hazard Bedlam.
Yeah.
Oh God, no! I'm not winning Hazard Bedlam. I'm happy to participate. Oh my gosh! No.
I think it would be absolutely hilarious if
I love it.
Got you the win.
Listen, you triggered. My last count was 20 people have done it. Yeah, and then we have, as it stands right now, Hail Reaper has said they're going to do it. Howler Pod sent a substitution and said they would do it later, so we'll see when that comes down. Fabled Spirits did it last night, and
that was awesome.
Lit Escalates. We have confirmation that they have accepted our challenge. We don't know when that'll come, because even then today I was making jokes about us all wandering around Tulsa. It was just a pack of Oreos being like, what else? And can the beer that we'll have at HowlerCon, like, nobody's tried beer and Oreos yet. The night's still young, but we don't know what's happening. So it has taken off.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Like I said, where I get my whiskey from for pals, they might actually be like, "You want us to dunk an Oreo in some of our ales?" Sure, why not? And they've got a big range of flavors, so who knows? I might even have them jump in on it. They're crazy
Yeah.
enough; they do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
We need to
it's
make
good.
this a thing,
Yeah.
like a whole ass
Yeah.
thing.
All of
Yeah.
a sudden, it's the
More
water
than it
bucket
already
challenge.
is.
But it's,
But
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll just raise funds for the den.
Yeah.
Help Salem monetize.
Yeah. It's just getting crazy. It's so funny how this like
Mhm.
one comment from Badger, then
Right?
you doing it, then just went, oh, well, if Drillbit's actually going to do it, I guess we all have to do it. And it
Right? Got to jump in. Heck yes.
exploded.
Yep.
And now people have done it multiple times. Summit,
Mhm.
who was on the episode with us and did it with us, she this afternoon did 4 different
Or
types.
Summit did different
bourbon,
dips. That was
fireball,
awesome.
peppermint schnapps, and like a dessert wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looked. Yeah, there's a lot of different things I think you could pull off with an Oreo, and I do. I think it is the fact that it's such a dry cookie, and so it stokes it up. So you get the alcohol, just bam. But then if there is other flavors, you actually get to taste some of those other flavors, and I think that's why Scotch is so tough with Oreos because
Yeah.
it it's meant to be subtle flavors, and all of a sudden it amplifies it to where it's like, no, you're not supposed to taste all of that.
Yeah.
Um, it's supposed to be subtle, and you're supposed to roll it on your tongue and feel it, and then go from that way. Where all of a sudden it hits that dry Oreo and it just explodes. Like, oh my gosh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So that's my thought
Yeah.
on it.
That's the really interesting thing is we discovered is the rye and bourbon. Everyone, well, most the people who like rye and bourbon have done it with rye and bourbon and enjoyed it, is what it'll say. Because every once
Yep.
in a while there's somebody and they're like, but I don't even like whiskey. And I'm like, what did you think was going
What
to
are you
happen
doing
here? we weren't going to convince you into drinking bourbon. But the Jameson, I've seen it twice, and I think that's the only Irish whiskey that's been used so far, and it's been
Yeah, I think
with some
Checkmate
like
and-
Checkmate and Rocket did not like it, and
Rocket
Checkmate
did
was
not.
like kind of he was
No.
like this is like a thing, it's but then Scotch, it is like a hands down do not touch
No.
Scotch.
Taryn from Fabled
No,
Spirits.
that's right.
Yes.
Did
She did
Lagavulin 16.
Lagavulin.
She fucking loved it.
Yep.
Okay. But she did it with a s'more, which I think then you already have
An
that
Oreo
smoky.
s'more.
Yeah, she did a Oreo s'more, which then I think already gives you a bit of that smoke.
Oreo.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
Maybe
she's sitting
after
there
I finish
puffing on a
this one.
cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And-
she's
And also, the Lagavulin has a significantly different flavor profile to the Ardbeg, like you're trying. Like the Ardbeg is like a little bit more iodine.
need
little bit more.
different glass,
But
and then I can.
The Lagavulin is like heavily smoky, like a meat
Yeah.
smoke.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's like,
Everybody-
I find it almost like sweet. So
everybody pause for 2 minutes. Let me get a couple more glasses, some Kahlua, and we're gonna do this again. Hold on. Okay, I'm back.
oh, I did 3 of these yesterday morning with Maker's Mark 101, and I was not okay. Like I was like heavily buzzed.
Yes. Isn't it crazy how fast it kicks in?
Oh yeah.
Like the Oreos make you go, oh, actually, okay. Can I throw a twist into this?
Yeah.
Because it's Girl Scout cookie season around here, and I forgot to bring my Oreos to the office, but I got a stack of Thin Mints. I'm kind of curious.
Ooh.
Uh,
Yeah, I finished all my
I
Oreos.
think this
and
is
I
a
did
brand
not
new
get
bottle
any
of.
others.
It is. It's a new bottle
Sounds
of
like it.
Kahlua.
Nice.
and my driftless Glen is getting low, so. But yes, I will agree. That is definitely a thing with the Oreos and any alcohol is it speeds it up a little bit.
Yeah, well, and the 101 is 50%.
Mine is 51. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna do the Lagavulin first because I feel like the Kahlua taste is just gonna take over from everything.
Probably.
Probably.
And now I'm going to have 3 different glasses here to sit.
All in good flavor, right? That a girl.
Not as long as Brackets, who let her cookie completely dissolve.
Right?
She's like, it was 5 seconds. I was like, honey,
No.
because that was 5 seconds what I just did. Okay, so this is the Lagavulin one. No, it's good. It's way better than the Ardbeg. Yeah.
I absolutely believe it.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. We're going to have to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep all 3 of these glasses, and then depending on who we're talking about tonight, I'm going to switch out what I'm drinking.
That a girl.
So now I just have 3 open glasses.
Well, hey, now you've got
alcohol.
Kahlua for when we're talking Virginia.
Yeah. I should have thought about that earlier. That Kahlua is coffee-based. I don't know where it is.
Yeah. Well, she's tea-based, but Severo is definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
Tea is just coffee with piss instead of coffee.
My mom likes her coffee like super light, and it drives my stepdad just nuts. He's like, she doesn't drink coffee, she drinks piss water. And so like he'll make it how he likes it, so it's not quite dark enough to stand a horseshoe up in, but it's close.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll put about that much in her cup, and then the rest is creamer. And my mom likes that. But no, my stepdad likes it dark. My grandma likes it darker. My grandma, who's in her 90s, loves it black. I mean, black. And
That's how I was raised. I don't like black coffee, but I will drink it if it's offered to me because that is what Grandma told you to do. And you don't.
And Grandma says this, you do it.
And I remember visiting my one cousin. We're the same age, so we were at different colleges, but in the same area. And I went and visited him one weekend, and that morning he's like, "Oh, like, what do you put in your coffee?" And I was like, "Cream." And he's like, "Does Grandma know that?" I was like, "No, Grandma doesn't know that." Don't rat me out.
I love that.
All right, Kahlua.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is going to be
is
freaking delicious.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I drink my coffee if I'm making it to drink it. I drink it black. But like if I'm picking up coffee for the road or something, double. Tim's double.
You have to explain a double. Do you know?
Cream,
Drillbit can, yeah. That is the most common. Like if we go to McDonald's, we'll say double. Like it's weird to us that we have to be like 2 creams and 2 sugars. It's a double.
Mm-hmm.
It's all Latin to me. I couldn't have told you what any of that meant.
Right.
I don't drink that, so
It's very Canadian. All right, here's the Kahlua. Good, but I don't think it's soaked into the cookie enough. The cookie is still dry.
Oh,
I wonder if it's because of a lower alcohol percentage.
Mm-hmm.
maybe.
Like it just tastes like an Oreo. So I'll throw another one in. I'll just keep eating Oreos.
There you go. All right, while you're doing that, I'm gonna try my Thin Mint in my rye whiskey just to see. I've got my little football coolers in there too, so it kind of makes dunking a little bit more interesting. And yes, it says Crown Royal because that was the glass that I grabbed. I do like Crown.
It definitely
that's
looks like
the official.
Benoit
That's the
balls.
official whiskey sponsor of our Nebraska Land Days, our big drunk fest here in town. So clearly we like it. All right, let's try this. The Oreo packed more punch. This just flavored it. It didn't like soak in. It's not bad. We'll try it after I take a bite out of it.
This is a thing. Can you show? So we have different Girl Guide Mint Thin Girl Guide cookies. So is yours like ours is encapsulated in chocolate? Like I was tempted to do it with one of our Girl Guide Thin Mints, but it wouldn't have gone into the chocolate.
Yeah,
okay, so
it's a
similar
coating
to ours, but ours has almost like a white middle that Oreo, but it's coated. Yeah, like I feel like you would need to.
Oh, that's much better.
Yeah, I feel like you got to get it in there.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Okay, that is new favorite. Not even a question. Okay, so earlier we were doing
Still
the
just tastes
peppermint
like
schnapps
yeah.
with the Oreos. Nope. Nope. Thin Mints dipped in whiskey is better. Not
All
even
right,
comparable.
noted. Noted. Um, this still, I just let it sit for like 20 seconds and it still just tastes like an Oreo. So, Kahlua, it's so
Oh,
good.
that's a
You
bummer.
don't know. And I
Ooh,
wonder if
not
it's
good for
still,
Duncan.
it might still be taking on the alcohol, but coffee and chocolate, I think, are maybe too close in flavor palettes that I'm just over here being like, I don't know. It's a coffee
It
crisp.
tastes like an Oreo.
Yeah.
So that's when you're. It's almost like a Jello shot where you don't know the alcohol's in the Jello,
Exactly.
and you're like, it's nothing, and you keep popping them, and then the fifth one in, you go, oh
I
fuck,
know.
and all of a sudden,
Yeah, you
yeah,
start
then the
feeling
alcohol
something.
kicks in.
Yeah. Very true. All right, should we actually like talk about Dark Age?
Maybe
Maybe.
this is a fun
Seems
section. I like
tertiary.
this section.
Yeah. This section's a lot of
Yeah, this
still. We've got some not world building from the Lysander Darrow. We've got almost kind of conclusion pauses in there parts, but we now get like so much in Ephraim and Virginia Mustang,
yeah.
whatever we want to call her tonight.
Well,
That
she's being heavily the sovereign, so I think we should
she
call her
is
Virginia.
very much Virginia tonight.
Yep.
But we get more of what those worlds look like, which is a lot of fun. So we kind of get that world building going in. But we're going to start with Darrow or Lysander? Who do we want to start with?
Get Lysander out of the way.
All right,
Yep.
our favorite.
I mean, he's the first one up in this set,
Yep.
and he has a bit of a life-changing experience.
I
Oh, he
think
finally
actually has,
experiences war?
yeah, I think he has two life changing experiences in this one. I think his first one is his conversation with Ajax.
Oh yes,
I think to see how he gets so slapped in the face with, all right, you were the power one because of your name,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to let you have that again. I I think that was I think that was such a psychological smack where I think if he had longer to digest it, if Darrow wasn't coming, the Reaper wasn't coming, and his leg wasn't wet, I think that would have been an even bigger psychological rending. But the Reaper came.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very interesting, like, we get to see Lysander as a child through the eyes of another child almost, like, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yep.
We have always seen him either viewed by adults or by his own perspective. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's very cool to have that little tidbit of what his childhood, I would say, actually, well, not actually looks like, but perceived in a different angle
Mm-hmm.
on it.
mm.
Well, I always look at it this way. When my wife gets together with friends that she grew up with in Houston, they revert back to the youngest age they knew each other.
Mm,
And some of them, it was middle school.
yeah.
So they turn back into screaming tweens again. And my wife is not that is not her. um, and I feel like this is applicable to Ajax and Lysander. Is all of a sudden they revert back to, you know, the men they are now is not their interactions that they are going through now. I
Yeah.
think it is very much still a pair of 9-year-olds told to go out and do something, go out to a camping trip or whatever. And Ajax is still that scared little boy, and he cannot see Lysander as a person. He sees Lysander as, oh, well, you're just the loon that's gonna rule over the grimaces, and that's how I perceive you.
Yeah.
And I think that still is his interaction focus. It's kind of like Bill Gates going back to his hometown. He won't do it. He won't go to his high school reunions because he's not Bill Gates, the Microsoft genius billion. No, he's the nerd that everyone picked on.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I can
Yeah,
see
that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
And then he has his second Ranger when he meets Daryl.
I think this one's like by far the bigger one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like he's grown up seeing Darrow, idolizing Darrow for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say on that
basically
note,
watching his ascendance.
Yeah, like that's the thing is when we first meet Lysander, he thinks that Darrow is the end all be all.
He is a Darrow stan.
Oh yeah, I have watched your hollows. Oh my god, it's the Howlers. Oh my god, and now he's about to be burned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
I love this scene so much.
Oh yeah.
Like this is the first time we ever see Darrow fight from somebody else's perspective.
Yes.
And I was talking with Charon and Tower yesterday, and they were talking about how smart it is of Pierce to instead of writing Darrow's prowess from Darrow's point of view, which I mean, like he does,
yes,
but doing it from somebody who doesn't like him, but is now forced to admit, like, this guy's the real fucking deal. Like, this guy is the god of death.
Yeah.
He is the Reaper.
Like, yeah. It's so much more impactful.
Yeah.
And
especially,
I have to agree.
Yeah, especially since, Lysander has, I mean, he's got a tangle with, pirates and, Rim people and Rim factions, and he's got to see the Rim people, but, seeing, it's like watching any athlete in person. You see them do stuff on the television, and all right, that's cool. And even sitting in a stadium, all right, that's cool. But then all of a sudden you stand across from them, and they do something, and you're like, how the fuck did you do that? And I think that eye-opening experience, like you said, it was so smart for Pierce to write it that way, because it all of a sudden made Lysander realize, oh, this is who I'm going against. This is real, and this guy is a force of nature. He's a force unto himself. I'm not going. I can yell for my Praetorians to kill the Reaper. That ain't gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's like it's Lysander basically realizing, like, oh, he is 15 steps past me. Like, I literally don't register to him.
No.
Like,
that's I think my favorite part. Yeah.
Like, yeah,
but
can
you
the
imagine
contrast between, like, Lysander is just like having this absolute fucking shit hammering, and then Darrow's like, we brush away light resistance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine though? Can you imagine if Darrow would have known?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like he's that far past Lysander that him not trying is like Lysander's world-ending event.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, that was so smart to write it that way.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't make sense to write it in Darrow's because it's not registering. He's got other bigger things happening in the battle.
It's not an important thing for him.
Yeah, it's Heliopolis.
Like, he's not going to care about the one gold if he even knows that Lysander's gold in that moment.
Well, that's like
burning.
The Love Knight is there too.
But instead,
that was the bigger concern.
It's the Fear Knight is there. Yeah.
No. The Love Knight is.
Sorry, Love Knight. Fear Knight comes later. Yeah. Love Knight.
Yeah, Fear Knight comes later. Yeah, no. Darrow doesn't register this unscarred pixie, which is exactly what Lysander is. You just hopped along for the ride. Well, I'm going to bat you aside with my razor because you aren't worth the shit on the bottom of my boots. And I'm going to worry about the Love Knight. But even then, he chews Olympic Knights for breakfast. So he's okay. I'm gonna deal with you because I have to. But I got shit to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like at the beginning of the book, he spends 7 seconds taking down the Death Knight, and he's like,
Yeah.
"That's good for him." Like, great work lasting 7 seconds.
You're right.
Cheers. Golf clap.
Like,
Golf clap.
how?
Yeah.
He's a force of nature, and he has big shit to worry about. He does not care about a whelp.
No.
Though I think if he would have known, if he would have had the same knowledge that Roan and the rest of the Praetorians in Kalandora, if Darrow would have known who was there, I really do think he would have made sure the job was finished, because I think
Yeah.
he knew
Oh,
the danger
100%.
that the loons represented.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lysander got lucky,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
and it made for great writing later for Pierce. So little plot shielding for later drama.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just very, and I like Lysander's chapters for the description of it, and I don't think we would have got that description from Darrow of certain elements of it, and so I think it makes it so much more dramatic coming from Lysander, just because of how
Yes.
how Lysander's inner monologue works. Darrow is very
Yeah,
cut
it's
and
so
dry.
much
We're
more
moving on
descriptive.
things. Yeah, that Lysander, his is so, for me, so enjoyable. Of you get that world, you can picture it. I don't usually like. I'm not a visual reader, and that is Lysander's. You can picture as they're happening.
Well, and he's so sentimental about different things.
Yes.
Darrow gets sentimental about duty and honor and Axe and Mustang and Severo. That's what he gets sentimental about people. Lysander, I feel like when Pierce was writing him, he made him be so much more sentimental about the smell of the battlefield and um, the fact that here's a sunblood that died because of this storm god, and how that feeling of home he got from the Praetorians. And he gives you a different perspective on how he feels like the rest of it. And when he talks about when Serafina gets in half from a munition, there's her entrails bleeding on the ground. It's like, oh well, that's rather visual.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yep.
feel like Darrow gives you that same flavor. Like you said, he is dry and cut to the point. We got things to do.
Yeah.
But Lysander gets, like, he soaks in the moment so much more, and I think that really plays to his memory ability too. Is that his memories are going to be more vivid because they're more vivid in the moment.
Right.
It also pisses me off about Lysander, but we'll get to that later.
Well, I mean, you're comment about Serafina. That's, I think, a huge pivotal moment for him as well. Of he's seen death, he's seen whatever, but that's his first, I would say, shock of war.
Yep.
Of
Mm-hmm.
this very brave, confident person
Talented.
is just
Yep.
gone. Bye.
Gone.
Yeah, erased.
Like,
yeah,
it's not a hat death, but it to Lysander feels like a hat death of like, dear God, like what is happening?
What the hell?
Yeah. And so that's a really interesting pivotal of like, I think all of this is we see he finally learns what war is.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he's starting to believe that war is hell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So Darrow next.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
about
that's
the
pretty
only
much it
relationship
for-
Lysander has in this set of
Yeah.
chapters.
Yeah. Yeah. Rather than Darrow, it's an interesting how we're going through how he's where we pick this up. So Orion's gone.
Yep.
Yeah, we brush away light resistance. That's where we
Yeah,
pick Darrow up.
that's where we pick him
Right.
up.
And Heliopolis
he's
is
heading for Heliopolis.
yep.
Yeah.
And he's felt that grind, and his units have started to feel that grind. And I think that was, the fact that this first 17 chapters, the fact that it was so dedicated to just Darrow, Lysander, Lysander, Darrow, back and forth. I think it was so smart of Pierce, because I think in some of the other books where, it's like, a battle here or a battle there, you don't feel the grind of war. I think
Right.
with the last chapter on Darrow, and especially where this one ends up, I think you feel so much of that grind, because to listen to it, because I wasn't fast enough to read it. I was like, nope, I got to get through this. I got to listen to it. But listening to it, it's like, man, you finally hit that last Darrow chapter, and you're like, this was a grind. Like, getting through this, it's the cadence and the fact that there's moments where it's, all right, it's kind of dry, Mercury's dry. But then you get these very high staccato moments where it's battle, and death is flying around you, and then it goes back to dry. To me, that feels so much like the stories that I've heard about what war is like, where it's undetermined hours of boredom inserted between terrifying seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad's a Vietnam vet, and he was a lifer. He did it for 35 years, and there's still stories he won't tell me, and that's okay. I don't want to know those stories.
Yeah.
But there's one that he tells where they were dropping off in a hot zone. There's bullets flying. He's a gunman on the chopper doors, and a helicopter, not pilot, mechanic. They're dropping in a hot zone, and there's bullets flying everywhere on both sides of the chopper. I mean, they're watching guys get chewed up. Literally, like how Pierce is writing it. I mean, it's just like bodies are just missed. And all they're doing is getting down close enough to the floor, dropping guys, and they're back up. And in one of those chaotic moments, the gunman that was on the other side of the door from him had a bullet go between his head and his helmet, wrap around, and shoot out the other side. Millimeter one way or the other, that bullet tumbles and he's dead. The Army let him keep that helmet. He got called lucky after that. Damn right, you got called lucky.
Yeah.
But then that, Pop says they would go back to, and I think it's funny that Devereaux calls his dad Pops, because I call my dad Pop. Just like he called his dad Pop, and it's a family thing. But to hear that, Pop had these moments where it's boredom. It's just, you're sitting there and you're just turning a wrench on a helicopter engine just to turn a wrench because you need something to do. And then the next second, you got bullets whizzing past your head, and you're in your pants because you might die any second, and your only option is to pick up a gun and shoot at the guy shooting at you. And then, half an hour later, you're turning the wrench again. And I felt like Pierce's description in those first 17 chapters, where it was such a grind and such a mix, I felt like that was such a good nod towards what we as civilians get to hear what war is like.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and especially, I would say, and this is at the end of the segment, but where Darrow's almost refusing. Well, he is refusing to sleep, and he's so high up on the stims that it's just this, like, him as the general being like, I can't lay it down. I can't, like, it's
to the end,
grueling. Yeah.
We also get hic est lupus, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Love that part.
Love that line. It gives me chills every time.
Every time. Oh, I'm with you.
He's like, Screwface says, you got a wolf cloak? No. He's been in my pack since I was 16.
Yep.
Like,
yes.
Big ass lupus, motherfucker. It's like,
yeah. Love Screwface in this.
Don't
Screwface and Calloway are the two in this. Yeah.
Don't let that man die. Man, hic est lupus, motherfucker.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. Chills every time.
Yeah.
Can't remember who it is that has that shirt, but I want it.
Okay, if we're talking about Red Rising gear, I could blow a budget that would match my Star Wars budget for
I know.
Red Rising stuff. And my wife looks at me, she's like, Thomas, you have to. Yeah, I know. Because I've got a whole office full of these little mini football helmets, along with all my Star Wars shit, along with all my Red Rising shit, along with all my board games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
There's
goodness.
so much for this like fandom.
Yeah.
I've put a pause. The Howler's Den just launched their merch shop. There's a few different things. We just had the Kickstarter, the Let Escalate Kickstarter just came out.
Yeah.
I am on a spending
pause.
hold until HowlerCon. I did the
Yep.
Kickstarter because that's a kind of one and done, and then
Yep.
I am on a hold until HowlerCon because
Yeah.
there's got to be some money in my bank account, or else I'll have nothing to dip Oreos into.
Right.
Yeah, but so we've got. I would say that's the great part, and then Calloway, which previous to that, so we do get the Darrow almost dying scene
Yes.
of him versus the Fear Knight, and he this is one of the first I would say that you are, and especially because now we have the different point of views. I would argue that Darrow is not expendable. That's not the word. He doesn't have plot armor anymore. Normally, all the first three.
Oh yeah.
Darrow can't die because then who?
No.
Then there's no
What's going
story.
to happen with the rest of the books, right?
But we are at the point now that Darrow could die at any moment, and we just get a different point of view, a new point of view, whatever. But so we get him versus the Fear Knight, in which he goes down and should have died, is my argument there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And what a miserable way to die.
Oh, God.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Fuck him till he's bloody, cut his cock off, shove it in his mouth, film it, send it to the Sovereign.
Yeah.
Holy shit, what a bad motherfucker he is.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the last moment,
Darrow got lucky on that one.
Yeah, then at the last moment we get the song, not properly sung, but said at least. And Calloway comes in. Which I think it's Darrow that says
forgot about Calloway's Z-Char.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's one of the most scary moments, I would say, in this series up until this point, that we think we're going to lose Darrow, and it is a real possibility at this point. Because even in Iron Gold, we don't really see a moment of... Yeah, Iron Gold doesn't really have a moment where we could lose him, but this is it.
Yeah, this is the closest Darrow comes to dying. Like, in the second set of the saga. But like, in a fight, this is Darrow's never really. Well, I guess Cassius.
Yeah.
Like getting stabbed in the stomach by Cassius is
that's absolutely
kind of as close of a parallel as you get.
Yeah. Yeah. Terrifying. And then makes like a comeback that he's just gonna live off stims for a few days. And
well, I think it was just the one day, but it was just like it was a day.
Well, so he's had 6 and then 10 injected in his neck, and it's Rona who's the one who's like, he's gonna fucking die. Like, you can't do this.
Right?
Like,
you're on the fact that
Parnassus is like, that whole time having a heart attack, you dumb bastard.
Yeah.
As someone who's had a heart attack, that fucking sucks. That pain you can't ignore.
Yeah. No, he's going for it, and he wants. It's fine. But yeah, they luckily are like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
and he's like so fucked up. He's just like, I need more stims.
Yeah, they're like, no, not how this.
You need a medic guy, and you need to lay the fuck down.
No,
I think it's interesting that they, they are trying to preserve the Reaper so much that the Howlers crowd around him and fly so close to him that it doesn't look like he's like that they're
collapsed.
carrying him. It's just like
Yeah.
they're so like, yeah.
Well, you got to keep that image up. You got to keep.
Well, absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
the morale.
Otherwise,
Like
morale
he
is just
is the he is the symbol of the whole thing. And if without him, everyone's, well, what are we doing this for? Like, it's a bizarre stance that we've had discussions about. What is the contingency plan if he dies? Like, do you seriously need him to that extent? And right now we're seeing that at least in the middle of battle, you don't want him dying. You want to pull some historical facts on you here. You want the Lord Nelson where he's pulled down below ship so that you don't know. You want the here's a Canadian one for you, the Montcalm versus Wolfe, where both of them on the Plains of Abraham are shot. Montcalm, they pulled him off and he died off the battlefield because you didn't want the French to know that the general had actually died. And Wolfe, who was the English general, had gotten shot and injured and he luckily survived, but both of them almost immediately during the Battle of the Plains of Abraham pulled off the field because you don't want the people knowing that their generals might die in this moment. Yeah, like, and that's what you're seeing here of like, what is happening? We can't have the Reaper go down.
It's the death of Palpatine over the Battle of Endor.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what was a route one way turned a route the other way. Yeah. And I think a lot of his image preservation also hinges on the Fear Knight's reputation and presentation. I mean, the forest of bodies and everything he has done to just, like his name implies, to impart such fear. You know, if you're the Free Legion and you've seen this guy just run roughshod through your allies, through civilians, through your fellow troops, and knowing that crazy son of a bitch is who you're on the other side of, and knowing that your one hope to get past him is the Reaper. Yeah, he dies, and I think Heliopolis is a different story. And Darrow knows that. I mean, Darrow was just there. He had the Fear Knight on his foot was on his neck, and I think that's where you see, there's some of the stubborn, no, I have to keep going after, but I think some of that is also oh my gosh, what if the Fear Knight comes back into the battle? Right now, it's just Ajax, but what if the Fear Knight comes back in the battle, and I am taking a nap? That undercuts so much of it, and you have to think that has to be some of, the Fear Knight is the boogeyman. I think the number of times you actually see him is zero, for the common troop, but you know what he's done, and if you do see him, you're fucked.
Yeah.
So I think that's some of what Darrow was running off of, is the boogeyman syndrome. Like, well, if I go down to, even at the new stem, what happens if this guy comes back in the battle? And that's, Parnassus asking, where have you been? Everywhere. And it's boogeyman syndrome. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, I like that Harnassus is like, they must have released some sort of like hallucinogen. Like every man swears they saw you, and yeah, where are you, or where were you? And he says everywhere. And
everywhere.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
He swaps out like 6 star shells.
Yes.
Like,
oh my god.
Sets of pulse armor. Like, dude is just a fucking machine.
Yep.
And then he burns his Helldiver hands.
Right.
The hands!
Oh, that's what that is. God damn it.
Yeah. Oh, there's the pain. Yeah, I guess my gauntlet broke.
That's the one thing I pulled out of this one that's really interesting. Helldiver's hands. But anyway, there's I forget what happens, but the only colors that are able to take it are the reds and the golds. And they make the comment of
Mm-hmm.
everyone else, the radiation, everyone else is like gone, and the reds and the golds are, because the golds obviously having the superior genetics, and then the reds are just so used to it now that their their genetics are like
sturdy rat legion is sturdy.
Yeah, like that's really interesting to me of that, like the two on the top and the bottom can take it, but the middle cannot. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Those Helldivers, man.
The green where his hair's falling, I'm like, how's a techie doing in a Drachenjäger? Like I kind of get it, but at the same time, orange, yes. A limey? A Drachenjäger? All right, man, whatever. Hey, you know what? A blue can write poetry, maybe a silver, I don't know. Sure, throw a limey in the Drachenjäger. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, theoretically, they would be able to run a Drachenjäger faster because they have the neural link.
The neural uplinks, yeah. But
like we know Rona has to get bolts implanted in her body to run it. I wonder if the greens do.
Oh yeah, you got to think they do.
Maybe they just run it on their uplink.
Maybe. Still, they're still getting stuff like uploaded into their gray matter to make this happen.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I'm not saying it's a good decision, but
no. Put a computer nerd in a tank and let him run it. I'm sure he can figure it out probably better than a layperson, but okay, sure, let's do it.
Yep. All right. Any last comments on Darrow for this? We only get him for a little bit.
Yeah,
tough son of a bitch.
Yep.
He is that.
Yep. Well, then we'll channel over and let's go to Ephraim. Let's go to slightly funnier segment. We get kind of some comedic relief a little bit. But it starts in confusion, I will say, though. That, like, you're sitting there going, what the fuck is happening? And then it's basically withdrawal is what the fuck is happening.
Yeah, he's basically going through surgery while being in and out of consciousness.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then withdrawal. And then terror.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And the addict nature of, where Pax says, hey, you asked for Z before you asked for Volga.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you this back.
Yep.
I mean, talk about a dagger in the heart. It's like, yeah, you're in trouble, mate. So.
Yeah. Those kids, though, I would love to have had a, like, sober look at what happened, that these two kids are just like, all right, like, we'll take control. Like, and again, they're 9 and 11?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we find out a little bit later what actually happens in that scene.
Oh,
but
see, I forgot.
Like the kids basically don't do anything.
Yeah.
There's 2, maybe 3 different groups that come in and basically, one tries to salvage the ship, and then another one comes in and is like, nope, kills all of them, and then takes.
You're coming with us.
Yeah. But yeah, and then once he's fully awake, I love the imagery of him, like, it's like this huge apartment, like...
balcony apartment.
Yeah, super rich, super, like, very
my daughter's favorite word.
Yeah.
Bougie.
Bougie. I was about to say it. It's so bougie. And he gets to wear slippers and, like, a furry robe and, like... Yeah, to figure out what the fuck is happening when the Obsidian walks in.
Yeah, and then of all the people he meets, of all the Obsidians he could have meets, he meets this one.
Yeah.
And just, who the fuck are you? You're putting your hand in fire. What the hell is wrong with you? And What is
Yeah.
you're eating walnuts and there's
Obsessed
bones
with his
there?
walnuts.
Yeah, uh-huh. And
Yeah.
the
Osgard's
crack
a
show that
fucking-
must have been.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very interesting. Well, and you learn that there's a little bit of history that Ephraim knows far more than we know he knows, I would say.
Oh yeah.
Where he knows the names of people. He like, oh fuck. Like, the moment he realizes that it's Valdir?
Valdir.
Valdir's.
Baldur
Baldur
Gunshorn.
Gunshorn.
And he fucking jumps out the window.
He's out. I don't care. Gravity doesn't hurt that bad.
Yeah, well, we get to like we learn a little bit about Ephraim's relationship with his reputation.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
He's like, I built a career around doing shit like this. Ephraim
Yes.
the acrobat,
Watch-
Ephraim
I
the
was gonna say the
reptile, like,
Yeah.
and
His
he's like-
leg, though.
so, oh my god, yeah. It doesn't.
Holy shit,
it
they gave
doesn't
me Iron
push
Man's
me
leg,
off
what the
wall.
hell?
Yeah, it shoots me like a bloody ballista bolt.
Yeah.
3 times stronger than the old one ever was.
Right? And the fact that he can place such an objective measurement on it, it's like, oh, you really do know your shit, don't you?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
the Griffins
and I
come
mean, like,
and pick.
what a fucking exit! Like,
Oh, yeah.
just deuces.
Yep.
And-
There's some
and
vines
just
on
jumps out the
this
window,
tower.
swings
I'm
on
sure the
some
vines.
And then
Like-
when he gets there, stick the landing, stick the landing, stick the landing, stuck it. And then he slips on the ice. Like, I mean, it's such slapstick
Oh
humor
my god!
Yeah.
that you
so
know,
good.
it's this Mission Impossible level escape. He has gone full Tom Cruise, like, watch me just blow all your fucking minds. And does, to us mortals. And then he sticks the landing like the pro he is, and then slips on the ice.
Would we say it's a Tom Cruise exit or a Captain Jack Sparrow exit? Where he can successfully get that far from
God,
everyone and then suddenly be absolutely surrounded
Yep.
by the British Army.
It is
I-
definitely a Jack Sparrow.
Yep. Jack Sparrow. You know what? I sign off on that.
I can't even believe you've got me, Crescent. You've got me on the he's Jack Sparrow.
Yep.
Because then
Yep.
we get the Griffins, the epic Griffins come up,
Yeah.
and so and his just like, have you seen my spaceship? Have you seen it? Have you seen my ship?
I know I parked it somewhere around here. It's got 2 big engines, really fast. Seen it?
Have you seen my ship?
Yeah, got a lot of thrust.
Yeah. Oh god.
Long
Yeah.
sleep,
No?
2 big engines at the rear. It's got a lot of thrust.
Yep. Yep.
Fucking Ephraim and his dick jokes.
I was gonna say that was such a great dick joke.
Um,
And the
Yeah.
fact that
go in your face.
he's telling it to an obsidian, then the obsidian is either gonna go
Has no clue.
no idea
Or-
what's happening.
either has no clue or no patience for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's such a great dick joke.
Yeah. But, yeah. Surrounded by the Griffins, including an albino one who is known
Yeah.
as like it's the Queens, it's Cephis.
Oh yeah,
Which is really cool.
God eater. Yeah.
God eater.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking love a
amazing.
good mythical beast.
I love them. Love it.
That's why.
I see you.
What is it? What is it?
The light. Come on, Tom. You can do it.
Oh yeah, that was one of your Hazard Bedlam, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is one. Sometime last year, I was on a kick. Someone posted something. I'm like, okay, duck at human faces. You'd think dentists do teeth all day. I can draw teeth all day, but a face, it's not my skill set. But animals, I've been drawing those since I've been like 10. So when I
Love
was
it.
like, oh, I could draw a griffin. Yeah. So there's that. And then, all right, I'll show up for a second.
Yeah,
Here's my
yeah.
other one that I love. This one.
Light.
God, the
Oh, and a
light.
star.
There it
The
goes.
Apollonius bull.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Lights.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the imagery of, these are our family crests. These are our, who we model ourselves after, and I love that the Arcoses were the Griffins. I think that's so cool.
Yes.
So yes, I totally put this one up because I knew we were going to talk about
I love
God
it.
Eater.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I'm always here for all of our mythological creatures, but the griffins, especially the descriptions. I think throughout this book, spoil just a little bit, but not really, like all of the mythical creatures that we get with the obsidians in this book are just top tier. And I think it gets back to Pierce's writing of each character that is what Ephraim would notice, like as that con artist, as that, person
The
who
collector.
the collector, he's so descriptive in this that I don't think we've seen the griffins through Darrow's point of view, but it's literally like, oh look, a giant griffin, rather than this. It's like it's
we
so
saw it
much
through,
more.
Yeah, we saw it through his eyes when he was at Arcos's estate on Europa.
Yeah.
The only thing he noticed was that the damn animal's eye was his head, and that's all he saw. Whereas Ephraim was going to look and go, "Oh my gosh, I could take and feather this thing and sell them for a boatload of money on Luna." Ephraim sees the bigger picture on something like that, and I think, I think it's really neat to see different perspectives on it and see that, he noticed the razor scarred beak. He noticed that it is not just a griffin, but an albino griffin. It is actually God Eater, which means he understands, where Darrow just saw, oh my God, it's a griffin. No, from saw that it is an albino griffin, therefore it must be God Eater. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and then also gets into, again, Ephraim and the connections to the obsidian, that he's clearly, either these are things that everybody knows, or it's ones that he's had run-ins or whatever, when we start to see kind of in that chapter of like, oh, you know a lot more than we thought you would, kind of a thing.
Yeah, Ephraim's a smart cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we get him kind of being reintroduced to the kids.
Yes. Okay,
Like,
in the
this
best
is his first sober introduction.
Yeah.
Right.
In the best way ever, and it kind of mirrors how we meet the kids in Iron Gold, is them in battle.
Which I think actually, and this just came to me, kind of paints Ephraim almost as a father figure.
Yeah.
To them.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Well put.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
But yeah, we get to see Elektra, as expected, just completely take everybody down, but work as a team. Like, it is noted that she has these people along with her, that she is the best fighter of all of them, but knows how to use other people on her team, of they've got this covered, so I can do this. Like, and it's this.
She's gold.
Yeah, like she
leader.
knows how to work her way through that, rather than Pax ends up working solo because he holds back and waits. His team gets demolished, and he bends the rules, which is, I would say, very, it's very of his father, but then also the mother Politico. Let me change this dynamic and use it in my own way.
He's
like, it's
altering
very
the paradigm.
interesting. Yes. Yeah, for sure. Which is very interesting to see, and him give this whole, speech to Sephi as if he is the sovereign herself. Like,
to kind of dribble into, when you had the first chapter that Virginia had in this, before we skipped over to Ephraim, when she's addressing the cameras, and she's talking about the whole thing, she has that moment where she has to pause and repeat herself because she knows all of a sudden my son is not going to critique my speech when I'm done back on the shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you talk about all of a sudden Pax, the sovereign, you start to wonder, knowing that the sovereignty has really been a bloodline passage, more of a monarchy than it has been an electoral, like the democratic system is set up to be. You wonder how much she has trained Fax to no, you need to think about this.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he gets the opportunity, never squander a good opportunity. So goes the political. To say, hey, you dumbass obsidians, you're doing this the old way, but yet you're trying to also do it the new way, and oil and water, it doesn't mix. And so, yeah, when you talk about all of a sudden he takes on the role of the sovereign, he has been maybe not the mouthpiece of his mother, but he's been the critique of his mother, and she not only knows he does it, but she expects it. So that means what he says has value, and if sovereign values what you're saying, how can you not think, well, what I say must be valuable? So for him to look at Sephi and go, well, I talk to the sovereign on a daily basis before this shit happened. You are nothing. You are a upstart queen. I deal with the person who runs the whole damn republic. So yeah, I'm going to tell you off like you're no big deal because to me, you aren't.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I also almost want to draw then connections of his rising or being raised to Lysander, but I feel like that's a whole other kettle of fish that we.
That's a whole nother bag of shit that could turn
We will
sideways real
leave
fast.
that for now, but it's just in my mind of him being raised almost in that political moment and what we're seeing versus how Lysander talks and knows how he was raised.
I think there's another interesting just little bit. It's not really relationship, but when Pax is fighting, Ephraim specifically notices that he fought with his eyes closed.
Yep.
Yes, I caught that this time.
We know that Virginia is learning, like we learn in these chapters that Virginia is taking tech from Pandemonium Chair and adapting it. So we know that she has a bunch of Octavia's secret.
Yes.
Do we think that she has been training Lysander or Pax in the Mind's Eye?
I picked. Well, I mean, I don't remember the first time. Maybe I picked this up the first time. Doubt it. But today I picked that up. Of why with the eyes closed, you need to know where your people are. He can't. This isn't
he
him.
already knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it would make sense.
And somebody
to
said somebody in the den was talking about how like he hears heartbeat.
Yep.
Just like Aja did.
Yep.
And we're pretty sure that Aja had the Mind's Eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yep.
I don't know. I subscribe to that theory.
Yeah, I feel like now focus in on that as I read through and see. I'm not usually one who picks up on those little, but today just because the eyes closed. And why make a note of it if you're Pierce?
So I caught that when I was training my children to be good workers. We were mowing my brother's lawn, and I was on the trimmer, and that's when I caught that his eyes were closed, and it stopped me trimming. And even my brother looked over, he's like, "Everything okay?" I'm like, "No, I caught something that caught my attention." So yeah, it's great to bring that up because it's like, wait, so he knew the whole layout that moment, and then he knows how to stick that shard of bone in that close.
Yeah, exactly where it needs to go.
I will tell you, you talk about 2 millimeters. I know what 2 millimeters is. I don't know that most people do. Yeah. That's fucking
something Drillbit.
No, 2 millimeters. 2 millimeters. You are flirting with some serious shit at that
Yeah.
level.
Yeah, that is about a
And
16th of an inch for our Imperial friends.
yes.
Hold on, I got tape measure here.
I
I got my sewing kits. My sewing kits all
There you go.
like. Hold on, you guys won't be able to see it because I have to hold it up to the proper. That's a millimeter. Oh, sorry, that's a centimeter. Is that one?
Yep.
So
Got
a
that in 10.
millimeter will be. There is little lines.
little
I don't know
one.
if I can get it, but it's
You're close.
nothing. It's
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah.
There. This is also when I like to point out that I have very steady hands.
Yeah, look at you go.
No kidding.
It's won me a few drinks at a bar. You do the game like how still can you hold your hand, and you get most people and they start doing this, this shit where they're just wobbling, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and they
So
can move.
it is. It's
So
a 16th of an inch, right? So that's an
Yeah.
easier one to see. That line's an
Those-
eighth of an inch.
Those are
So
eight.
half of that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the black
The
on
fact
white
that he's-
doesn't work as much.
Yeah.
So the fact that he sticks it that close, and the fact that human anatomy. Okay, one little diversion. I promise I'll stay off this tangent. I'll get off this tangent quickly. Pierce makes so many anatomical references to teeth. It drives me nuts. It is so hard to pop a tooth out that you're going to do more damage than just pop the tooth out. And I'm done. I'll leave it alone. Because I could drill on that subject all day.
Yeah, I bet you could.
Mm-hmm. I really want to be like, can I please give you like a 1 hour quick tutorial on what it takes to actually pop a tooth out? Because the hangover does not adequately supplement dental knowledge of how to take a tooth out.
Are you telling me that Hollywood would just make a movie that lies?
Maybe.
I
I'll say
don't,
this.
No,
They
just no.
They picked the easiest tooth, though how he did it with a pair of fucking Ace Hardware pliers and not damage the two teeth on either side is beyond me. But it
Apparently, you need some work in your field.
yeah. And and here's the other thing. I'm sorry, I deviated. You look at all the amazing dental prosthetics that are done for all the Hollywood movies. You think of Phantom Menace and what they did for Darth Maul. You look at Hannibal Lecter and what they did with Hannibal's character, and Red Dragon, what they did with Ray Fiennes' teeth. And you look at all these amazing you look at Jack Sparrow, which actually Johnny Depp kept the work. Like he said, no, actually do it. And that level of work, I will tell you, that is fucking hard work. If you're trying to do that kind of dentistry, some of the gold onlays that are done, like what Jack Sparrow had, that is hard. Like that is not just, oh, go find the guy down the street. Like I would be very, very skeptic on doing anything. Oh, that you want a prosthodontist that knows his gold work.
Yeah.
So the fact that Pierce kind of says, "Oh, he got punched in the face and it popped a tooth out," and he just spit it out on the ground. No, it doesn't work that way. But anyways, I'm
In
going
hockey,
to do that
it does. I've seen a bunch of people in hockey lose their teeth.
There's a reason it's called spitting chiclets.
Yeah, but you see the crown of the tooth get cracked off, but how many times does the crown of the tooth got cracked off and the root is left in there?
Oh, yeah, okay.
So when they haul their dumbass hockey asses into the locker room and they have a whole dental suite, and I've talked with guys who have been the team dental rep, and they pull them in the locker room, they numb them up, they pop out what's left of the tooth, which is not as easy as it sounds, especially if it's a healthy tooth. And then the guy goes back out, and they're like, "Oh, it's amazing! He popped the tooth out, and he came back in." It's like, well, that's the anesthetic doing its job, and they probably got a dose of Marcaine in there to be a 12-hour anesthetic. So, no, he doesn't feel shit. I promise you. Okay, was it the playoffs? The guy that got the skate along the side of the face and the 75 stitches?
Yeah.
No, he didn't feel shit. You wanna know why? He had epinephrine that clotted everything all up and Marcaine that kept it numb for 12 hours. He didn't feel shit. So, yeah, he went back out there and played. Of course he did.
Yeah.
Anyways, I do a lot of stitches too, so I could also talk about what it takes to get someone back together. I'm not a plastic surgeon. Those guys do some amazing shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you throw a little Marcaine in there. Yeah, you ain't gonna feel anything for 12 hours. You'll be fine.
There you go.
So, Pax
I was gonna say, where were we?
Scattered this bone stave. Remembers where all of the shards are.
Yes.
Finishes fighting this kid.
Move.
Picks up this shard, puts it that close, all with his eyes closed. Mind's eye. Like,
has to be.
Yeah.
Yep. And that I'm done with that.
There you go.
So then we get Ephraim basically dressing down Sephi.
Yep.
And I know, Drillbit, you said you wanted to talk heavily on this speech. Because you really liked it.
I did. I like his speech to Steffi, and I like how he handles the Scoogie. And how he really points out to both of them that they have done good things for the Republic so far. And their warrior mentality has played off very well. Because killing was the order of the day. And when killing is the order of the day, I don't think anyone can match an Obsidian. You know, if you throw a Stained in with anybody, everyone freaks the fuck out. Because the Stained is death incarnate, short of the Reaper. And even the Reaper was like, you know, when he met Ragnar the first time, holy fuck, what are you? And that is what the Obsidians are really good at. And Steffi was good in uniting the tribes, but I think how Ephraim kind of looked and said, okay, congratulations, step 1, thumbs up. But you haven't thought this through. And, you know, we can't just waltz into this and expect that it's, you know, everything's going to be okay. And there are more forces out there than you are giving credit to. And I think, you know, and then we skip ahead and get to Virginia when she's like, oh no, I planned for all this to happen. This wasn't her. She wasn't being sneaky. I set this up for her and she walked right down the trail I put her on. And I think Ephraim, being the smart cat he is, he sees that. And I think he gives that Steffi, and he realizes what Pax did. He realized it better than any Obsidian in that entire arena. You know, but I think he sees that, you know, all right, you want me to do this. You want me to you pulled in blues to teach astronavigation. You've pulled in oranges to do engineering. You've pulled in, you know, all of the other colors to gray. You know, gold held the chains. We were the chains.
Right.
And you know that.
Yeah.
And you know that here I am, ex-legionnaire, ex-loonies, ex-ish operator. And you have an elite force of killing machines that have wiped out Red Hand, which is awesome. I really hate Red Hand.
Oh, yeah.
We did a wonderful job in writing them. The fact that the Scoogie are the ones like, oh, we're the Cloak and Dagger you don't know that's coming. But then for Steffi to realize, okay, I need someone to teach them not to be the killing machines. We need that, but we need more. We need the Greys. We need the operators. We need the secret police. And no one here knows how to do that. And so we need our instructor. And the fact that Ephraim leverages so much of what he wants to do because he knows that he did. Here I am, Ephraim T. fucking Horn. You brought me here. You gave me a 3-figure, 2 or 3-figure, how the hell do you say that? Comma. 2 or 3 comma prosthetic flesh work. When I should be, by all rights, I should be dead. I shouldn't even, you should have seen me and said, well, he's just a gray POS. We want the children.
Yeah.
But they go, no. We want all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And again, the operator's mind sees all of a sudden the merchandise that was important was indeed the children. $10 trillion. 10 trillion credit children. But he also realizes that he's an asset. And he can leverage his own value against Sephi, knowing that she is going to pay. And even though he's also getting, Volga and Lyria, he finds out Lyria, yay, their story gets to continue. But he knows that he's the asset. And if he wants to get the most out of this deal, he's going to leverage himself. Well, that's 1. You want to go for 2? I love that line. When he looks at it,
he's just jacking up the price on diamonds.
Yep. Watch me go. And the fact that
he knows she's gonna pay it too. Like,
let's do this. Let's shake on it. And the fact that he sticks his hand out, knowing obsidians don't touch each other, and the fact that he's so comfortable breaking that particular wall. And I don't care. What are you gonna do? Who's going to stop me? Are you going to stop me? Are you going to kill me? The queen's not going to kill me. Who is? And then later on, when we jump to him and his karate, he reads people, and that's the reason he's such a slick operator, and that's the reason he's such a smart person. Is he takes the world that's presented to him, and he reads where the stress fractures are at, and he knows where to put the chisel and smack it, and he'll take that rock and turn it into a diamond. Because he sees the fault lines, and he knows that this is where the weak points are. Now, what he doesn't do, what he struggles with, is when he looks in a mirror. He doesn't see he's a drug addict. He doesn't see that he's an absolute shitty person.
Yeah.
To all those people who he should be great to. Whether it's Volga or the memory of Trigg or Holiday. Yep. But if you make him take that gaze and focus it externally, he has such a great way of breaking down situations and being able to figure out where the pressure points are and how to push them just right so that, no, you're not getting a 1/4 kilo of diamonds, you're now getting a kilo of diamonds. And I think that again, it's his viewpoint that really, he sees the angles, and people like that are so much fun. Yeah, and I really do. I love that character for that.
Yeah, he knows his worth. He doesn't know his weaknesses, I would say, but he knows his worth. I have to laugh though when he does the Scoogie talk, and then at the very end, it's like, by the way, half of them don't understand common, and he's like, "You fucker."
Yeah, Osgard, fuck you, fucking troll. I love that.
He just does this epic speech about like, this is why I am going to be the one to train you in this bit, and then just, by the way, half of them don't know what the fuck you just said. Like,
yeah. Also, this is the moment we learn that everybody is speaking common.
Yeah. Oh, so okay. Because we know
this is the moment we learn that it's the base language is common.
Yep.
Yeah. Because they speak Nagal. Nagal?
Nagal.
Yeah. Where are you putting the emphasis?
Nagel. Philip Nagel.
Which somebody put in the Reaper's Room about what does that, like, how much work did
Yeah, like
Pierce put in? Like, is it
like what is it
the,
based on something
or is it like
It's
you've just made up
Scandinavian.
words, or is it Elvish, right? Where
Yeah.
Tolkien went, let me make a language. Is it just Scandinavian?
It
Like,
okay. The little bit, and I am not an expert in English. It to me, like when you hear it, it rolls off like Norwegian, Swedish,
for sure.
Scandinavian.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you look at some of the stuff and you look at some of the words, like it really does kind of ring true more with it. So I think much like he bases a lot of stuff off of his Latin and Greek
Yeah.
to create so many of his things. I have to think he's done his research and he's like, no, the Gaul has its tie into like old Viking
It would totally make sense.
language.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
We
would be
need
very, very
brackets to
surprised
ring
if
in
it's
on
not.
this one.
Yeah, if
yeah.
it's not at least based on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. And I love that Granier, where he calls the grays the granites.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gray fox.
Granier. I love that. That's such a fun word to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Anything else on Ephraim?
Um, I think one of the last things on him is you talked about fiber of character, and this was actually something kind of now that we've touched Alexander, Barrow, Ephraim, and we're about to go to Virginia, that I think this section really kind of highlights is you see different attributes in different characters and how they allow those different attributes to shine. And for me, three of the things that really were uh, pinpointed is you have strength, toughness, and fortitude. And where those three things are interconnected, they're not interchangeable.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at someone like Darrow, he has strength, clearly. I mean, he's a very strong person physically. Um, he has fortitude. He's gone through hell and come out the other side. But I question some of his toughness. I think when you look at it from a macro view, he appears to be very thick-skinned. But when you zoom in, there's cracks in his layers, and there is a brittleness to his exterior. He has been, kind of work hardened to the point that he's now a brittle exterior. When you look at someone like Virginia, she is strong in her own right, but strength is not her defining feature. It is her toughness.
Yeah.
She is a very tough individual, and we'll get to more of that later. And because of that, she has fortitude, and she shows her fortitude. I think in her POV section that Pierce writes, of I have kept my teeth under my lips. Now I'm going to use them. And then you look at someone like Ephraim. I think he is the balance of all three. It kind of goes back to the gold held the chain, we were the chain. You have to be strong, you have to be tough, and you have to be fortified. And I think if you have decent levels of strength and toughness, fortitude is almost implied because of the interconnection between the three. But he doesn't match either Darrow or Virginia in their peaks of both. Because he's so well rounded, that is why he is the right fit to fit in with the Obsidians. He knows Luna is now cut off for him. If he goes back there, Severo will find him, and if he doesn't, then the Syndicate will find him, and either way he loses. And he knows that Earth is not something to him. And I think there's so much pain from Earth, from Trig, that I think Earth is not an option between Trig and Volga and everything else. So he realizes, and he said this, is Mars has to be my option. Has to be, because I'm out of options. It's either that or I go back to being a legionnaire or the core faction of society, or I go to the Rim, and that's no better. And so I think Ephraim really kind of balances out the three characteristics of strength. I mean, he is strong. He's shown that. He is tough. Good golly, he survived going through that escape. And because he has both of those so much, he has the fortitude to truly be the instructor that the Obsidians need. And when this is all kind of rolling through the upstairs, and I was kind of thinking about it, okay, how does this translate into real life? And this is kind of going back into in my job, strength is the domain of the masculine, and that's not to say that women can't be strong. They certainly can. I know some girls who are way stronger than I am, but typically speaking, if you're strong, you live in a testosterone bath. Toughness is the sphere of females, and particularly mothers. When I go to what I do and go to put cold steel to teeth, I'll take a mom any day. You put a guy in the chair and he's fucking weenie, guaranteed. And I think strength is a physical measurement, toughness is a mental measurement.
Right.
And men excel in strength, women excel in toughness. And like I said, they're connected. They're not interchangeable. And then that fortitude is an intangible that is, endurance almost. And it is genderless. It does not care your age. It does not care your size. It does not care your ethnicity, your orientation, anything, whatever label you want to slap on it. It is purely a measurement of your fiber and your individual being. And I think if you want to talk about all the characters in this little section, I think, like I said, Ephraim is probably the most balanced. I think of all the characters, I think his fortitude is the one that shines the most.
Okay.
And I think the fact that it is based solely on who he is and how he displays it. I think that is, for me, that is one of the reasons I like Ephraim the most, is he has such an internal fortification on, I can do this. Now, his weaknesses are totally blind to him. He falls apart, which makes him much more relatable. But I think his fortitude is why I am rooting for him so hard in this book. I want him to succeed. Yeah. And that's my bow on Ephraim.
I love it.
And that was way more than you wanted. I'm so sorry.
No, it's great. I love it. It's good. I love the passion. It's great to have you on for that reason, that you have that insight. It's fantastic.
My philosophy.
We know you're talking for a fellow Gray Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those who don't know or who aren't in the den, Drillbit is one of our senior howlers.
Yeah. This here is gray and white for a reason. I'm not 16 anymore.
Yeah. I just wanted to say one thing about the strength being masculine and physical, toughness being feminine and mental.
Please.
Do we want to feel like maybe fortitude is genderless but emotional?
I mean, I can go with that.
Yeah,
you start talking about
so.
intangibles.
Yeah.
And intangibles need labels in order to have discussions. Even though by giving a intangible label, it's an oxymoron. Yeah. But yes, I feel like that's perfectly appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Well, moving on then to our toughness.
That was terrific, but Virginia?
Yeah, moving on to our... and Virginia, we had this discussion Was it on the podcast or right before we started? Who knows, whenever
I
we
think it
hit
was just
record.
before we started.
About it is Virginia we see and not Mustang. I think later, like, we get cracks of Mustang,
Oh yeah.
but it is the sovereign in these parts, and it's an element that we sometimes see via Darrow, but not. We usually see Mustang because Darrow gets, as Crescent once said, the Reaper gets Virginia and Darrow gets Mustang. And so we start with her, as you said, doing the big speech, doing the call to it is a political move of
Oh yeah.
call people back to her side against the Vox Populi, to her husband's side, almost try and forget what he has done, the killing of Wolfgar, all of that, and we kind of launch straight into it of what the politics in the Republic looks like. This is not really a part of the series we've seen before. Darrow couldn't care less when Octavia was sovereign. We didn't really know what was kind of happening in that world. And now we're getting thrown straight into it, and heavy, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are all of a sudden looking at the intricacies of the Republic from a political standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really interesting start of this. Again, we get the cracks of Mustang. She's still clearly worried about Darrow and Pax, but it is very much her trying to align her votes. Her relationship with Dancer has gotten to a point of just like different. Well, this is Canadianism. I feel like almost works for America. Yeah, because Americans, you have the aisle as well, that you don't cross the aisle. Canadians, kind of in our House of Commons, you have the aisle. Ours, because we have a multi-party system, I feel like is almost more like they're situated all around, but you still sit in your seat, and that's where we're seeing Virginia versus Dancer. It is, you are on the opposite sides, not really talking, calling each other traitors at parts of this. And that's, it's a very interesting what we're getting out of Mustang. Virginia.
I think you see her father come out in this, and I think you see where all of a sudden, and she talked about it throughout her monologue and her point of view in this, no one knew what Octavia went through and the Jens Bloom to the extent that I do right now. No other living person does. Not knowing that Lysander's alive. A little bit she is. But you see her all of a sudden take some of the lessons that her, cold as a fish father put into play, and addressing a room and how to wield that silver tongue, be able to rally people to his, now her will of, no, this is what is going to happen. You're either going to fall in line or we're going to run you over. I think that her play to the Vox, and really to the populace of, no, our greatest war hero was written off and he kicked everyone's ass. We need to do something. And you see her relationship with her father come out through this.
Yeah, for sure.
Skipper, I admire how very quiet you were opening your Oreos.
I've tried so hard. I tried really hard, and I'm using a hazard because they don't stay open. So I don't have to continue. I've got the hazard bath stickers.
Nice.
I'm currently holding them.
I pulled one of these earlier, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, Thomas, can you make more noise?" Well, I probably can't, but yeah, nice job.
Oh. Slowly just eat and talk the whole time. Well, it's really interesting to see, as you say, her relationship, I think, with her father and herself, that she was raised for this.
Mm-hmm.
But then we get glimpses throughout this of, so the dancer part of, we get the phone call with dancer, and it's clear like they normally they should be on the same side, but they've divided at this point. Quicksilver should be on the same side. That is the best fucking scene, though. And literally, like, the callback to the war room of her feet on the table. Hand me the apple. Let me finish the apple. Now hand me a fucking rail gun.
Yeah. Yeah, this big badass rifle.
And then I love it that Quicksilver's just like, you just bankrupted 3 companies by doing that.
Yep. Boom. One shot.
And then we also get the ongoing theme, which I think is really interesting, of her and Daxo. Because we, going into this, so she's raised by the Telemanos. We acknowledge this. We love them. They're fabulous. We didn't even talk about Darrow and Thraxa in this episode, but we know Thraxa's around, and you see the badass with her hammer. She's just coming down as like Thor. But you see, she is a weapon of violence.
Mass destruction.
Pax was a lovable teddy bear, but when he was going to be a weapon of violence, he was a weapon of violence. Kavix.
Sal Telemanos. Let me shout my name.
Kavix is a hardcore, like, couldn't keep him down when the heist was happening, the kidnapping, and he's going to come at you. And now we've got Daxo that she's got to, in order to get him on his side, like, quote, Paradise Lost to him? Where did Daxo come from? What the fuck is this? Like, I love that. And throughout,
Daxo must be his mother's son.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Daxo is Daxo is the kid that when you have children and all of a sudden your child does something that you're like, wait, you're smarter than you should be at this level. Where the fuck did that come from?
Who did you learn this from?
Exactly. And your dad, I've seen my kids do that, and certainly not to like the high ability learner level or the autism level, nothing like that. But to see your child that you're like, nah, you're not that smart because you're a child, and then all of a sudden they do something that's that smart. You're like, oh, I have the feeling that Avix and Niobe kind of constantly felt that with Daxo, like, holy shit, which is kind of okay. Crescent, you're the encyclopedia in this. Is he the oldest?
I don't know if we know.
We don't actually know.
Because one who's still unnamed. We know Pax is the youngest, is I think all we know, other than the unnamed one. But we don't know the...
So, the fact that Avix and Niobe agreed to have children beyond Daxo speaks to their Catholic background. I don't know. You almost have to at that point. You're like, no, we're required to have more kids. Because I will tell you that if I had a child that came across like Daxo, I would be scared to have another one. Because Daxo is fucking scary as a parent. Because you're waiting for them to pick the lock on liquor cabinet and slam down a fifth. No big deal. Because they're just that fucking smart. And I will tell you as a parent, there's a few times when my daughter C would do some stuff and I'm like, oh shit, okay, I need to skip ahead a few chapters in my parenting book and figure out what I'm going to do with this kid. Holy crap. And I felt like Kavix and Niobe were constantly skipping ahead because he was just such a different animal. It is, then you get Thraxa and and through to
Oh, I
so
know how to
many,
handle this.
through to so many children. Axo was Lucifer incarnate, as he comes about later. Thraxa is no, I am the orc incarnate. I just want to hit shit. I just give me a big fucking hammer and a target. You really don't have to give me the target. Just give me the big fucking hammer. And where Daxo is
I'll
going to
figure the
think about
target out myself.
exactly.
Yeah.
Daxo's like, give me scalpel, and I'm going to pick my targets. Thraxa just wants to hit shit.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, this is wonderful. And then you get Pax, the youngest, the one that everyone loves.
He's just a daddy bear.
I know it is, but he's neither of his siblings. He is just the one that he's just gonna go do stuff, and he's gonna get away with because he's Pax. And again, credit to Pierce for having the psychological understanding of, okay, this is the firstborn, this is the secondborn, this is the thirdborn, this is the fourthborn. This is the middle child syndrome. This is, and it's so much. I do, and I love that he, even all the way back in Red Rising, he talked about how Darrow was not the oldest. That was Kieran, but because Kieran was kind of a little bitch and wanted to cry at everything, Darrow was the stoic one. And
Right.
that is such good psychology on children.
I would say,
Also,
actually, I
really
would
wanna
argue
quickly-
that Xena would be the oldest.
Zana.
Zana would be the oldest, because she's the one who sits there and does the admin work. Is she not the essential oldest
Yes.
daughter of the family of keep
Fair.
dad in line?
Correct.
Like-
Yep. I stand corrected. But still,
Also,
that they had a child after
Daxo
that.
and also Daxo, Thraxa, and Pax are all pretty close in age.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, they don't specifically say it, but I imagine that Daxo and Thraxa are slightly older than Mustang and Darrow, and then
Not
Pax was obviously
Same.
the same age as Virginia and Darrow.
Yeah. But I bet you that Xena
Yeah,
is
you're
the
right.
one.
The oldest.
She's the oldest daughter who has to keep dad
that
in
makes
line.
perfect sense.
You have to do the fucking admin work.
The administrator.
Yeah.
Yep. You're right. I stand corrected. Yep. That's true. But again, that's Pierce's brilliance that he said, okay, we need to make sure that when we have a family, especially a bigger family, we need to make sure that the children stay true to their birth order.
Yeah.
It is a whole nother level of psychology, but I feel like he did that very well.
Which now I'm just laughing at us just naming Xena, but essentially the family copper, and in the Brown household, Blair, the older child, is the lawyer. And 100% keeps Pierce's dumbass in line.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had two younger brothers. We're all close in age, and my mom was always astounded how alike we were and then how utterly different we were. And you even see that in what we do now. So that's oldest, dentist, white collar, did all the work, wanted to be the one that was responsible, took all the jobs, put them on my back. Chuck, the Violet of the family, though not actually gifted in that range. I got the gifts, he got the brain to be a Violet. And then John, just the quiet mouse, tell me what I'm supposed to do, tell me where I'm supposed to go. I don't want to do anything like, I want to do the work, but I don't want to create like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. No, just tell me what I'm supposed to do. He works for me because that's comfortable for him to, okay, just tell me what I'm supposed to do, Thomas, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I love that Pierce made them so that they all fell in line. And Dacto is really one of my favorites. The fact that he is, how'd Virginia put it? Something of he would be a terror on his own, but he picked his team a long time ago, and he's so uber competitive that he wants his team to win. I love that about Daxo. He's like, no, I want democracy's stupid, but we're going to make it work. I love that mindset.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it for Daxo, I think is where we ended that.
Yes.
But yeah, so we get anything. So we've got all our portions in the moving. But then we do get the little bit of... So I really like her in Holiday, and that's kind of where we see the
Yep.
Virginia Mustang back and forth kind of Holiday is the six. I love that they call her. She's always got your
Yes.
back.
Yeah, we finally get this.
Yep.
Super
Holiday
cute.
is the 6.
What a good nickname.
And
Yeah.
and Holiday is also her safety cap. Where in one part, I don't remember where she's like, she'd put a bullet in my head if she knew how much she restrained me, or something to that effect.
Yeah, how much she restrained my darker urges.
Yep.
Yeah, if she knew how much she restrained my darker urges, she might think it wise to put a bullet in my head.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
And that's the person you have guarding your 6, but also that tempers your 12. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we get a lot more of, I would say, in-depth Holiday than we've gotten before, just because Darrow doesn't normally go there. Even Ephraim was holding her at bay, and now we get...
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about how everybody's written differently, and I think the thing Mustang does really well is reading people. That is her thing.
Yes.
And that's... So we're getting more Holiday of... what maybe her true feelings are, especially at the end of this. We get the, like, you know, she's been held back from the pack. She's not with the Howlers. She's doing what she feels right. And just because it's what she feels right doesn't mean she's happy with that situation. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a really cool kind of, the two of them together. I really enjoy seeing that. We're getting this is the interesting thing is, well, no, I guess we get Lyria in the last, but we don't really get Lyria interacting with other females. These chapters are when we fully get the Bechdel test, which is two women having a conversation, not about a man. It's rarely actually done in TV, movies, books.
Yes.
And this is, I mean, and I think I would give Pierce credit that it's because when the point of view is from a man, how do you have two women having a conversation? But this is where we see it.
Blind spot.
Yeah.
Yep.
That it is, this series does, in fact, pass the Bechdel test. And I just love their relationship together. And
here's one for you. It's just a short little bit, but when Virginia and Deanna have their conversation, that was a fun little... And she's like, you might be the only person who can still scold me. I'm still the only person you have to impress. Like, oh.
Yes.
That was amazing. That woman, God, I wouldn't want to piss that... Like, the whole list of women, I would not want to piss off Darrow's mother.
No.
Nope.
No.
That's like pissing off my grandma. My grandma could kill you with a look. Just skewer you right through the guts. And every time I hear Deanna, I think of my grandma. And I'm like, nope. She could just look at you and you're fucked up. Come on, don't do that again. Yep.
Yep. Love it. Yeah, we get some really great moments in this one of the female empowerment.
Yeah.
How much do you think Blair plays into that?
Blair, no, so 100% Blair. And if you, this question gets asked every single signing. I'm sure people probably asked it. For people who don't know, when we did the Glittering Gala with Pierce, a lot of people submitted questions, and I was one of the people who went through and was like, no, he answers that one too often. And he gets asked all the time, basically, why do you write strong females? Which I think we should be in a world that's not a question asked, but whatever.
It shouldn't be. It is what it is.
His answer is his mom is the breadwinner in the family.
Mm-hmm.
His mom was the first female president of I think it's a television studio.
Oh,
that
cool.
She has been on the board of, like, directors. Like, his dad's got a good job, but not in
Mm.
comparison to his mom. And the mom, like, his mom is just his foundation and who he sees through all of this of like, if my mom
Yeah.
can do that, then women are on par with everything. And I think
Yeah.
that then is why Blair is such a strong female herself. She's the lawyer. She's gonna probably have a whole she's rescuing horses and dogs, and it's fabulous.
Yep.
But it's just
It's
that they're,
Virginia and Volga.
yeah,
Right.
their family is just very gender equal.
Oh,
And
well,
that's what then comes across in all his writing is why when he talks
why
about
would a female be the
gender,
weaker?
yeah, but when people
Yeah.
act like, and he said this during the gala of like, Victra was supposed to be male, but the gender of a character is the eighth thing he thinks about.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't, you write the character and then just like, oh, well, it worked, whatever
Yeah.
it parses out to be in the same way color of hair or eyes parses out to be. I mean, in Red Rising, it's a little different for hair and eyes because that's
Well,
a whole
yeah.
other thing. But yeah, so I would say yes, that Blair is probably a strong reasoning of why
Yeah.
we see Virginia as she is, but it's their mom as well.
Of all these characters, I would love to hang out with Virginia. I would love to pick her brain. I would love to sit down with her and say, okay, what does the sovereignty entail? What are some of the struggles you have to overcome? How do you manage some of the strong personalities that you have underneath you? And what is the different mindsets you have to come in, when you talk to a Daxo versus a Holiday versus a Dancer versus a Publius, little cocksucker. Um, Sorry, not trying to be spoilery. I just don't like greasy lawyers. No slant towards Blair, but Publius seems like a greasy lawyer. Um, you know, but she has to come in, and those are the big names. But as all people who are in that position of power, that okay, there's the name that you have to, and the person that's attached to that you have to placate and deal with. Then there's every person underneath that are the ears and the scaffolding and the support structure that run that, and you have to deal with those people too. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, and for someone like her to be able to manage all that, and then when she gets in this chapter and she really shows her teeth, and she's like, "Damn it, I'm sick of playing background. I'm sick of playing distributor. I'm sick of being the smartest person in the room and no one listens to me." Wow, what a line that was. Um, or however it was worded exactly. Um, she finally, kind of pulls the arrow, slams the razor into the table, says, "Shut the fuck up and listen," and then really just rips through in a few short days this tumult of idiocy and straightens so much shit out. Bam! That is so cool to see such a mentally, you know, capable person go and do that. And I would love to sit down and be like, "Oh, how do you handle all this shit, man?" That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's so much fun. And we hear through this, we get to see those relationships and some of the background of what's like. I really like when we get to see in her office.
Uh,
And there's the puzzles that her all
Oh, the useless
311,
puzzles.
but there's
uh,
also is it that or something else that Darrow says should have been destroyed because
Liz
she's
puzzles.
like, is it the puzzle? Yeah, that she's like obsessed, like she's just got them circulated around her. But I just really like that mentality of like, I've defeated kind of all these things and she's now dwelling on the one thing that she can't get through. She can't figure it out of who has her child.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, the fact that she kept all 311 puzzles or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm sure there was more, but yeah.
yeah, to remind herself of the madness that lurks within.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like,
Well, and that's so many smart people. Brilliance is a thin line between brilliance and insanity. And
yes.
to know that she's got to walk that line, that stiletto.
The
Yeah, I was
stiletto.
gonna say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Really cool of just, we get to see all of that. And I
We
would
also we
say,
also get the little line with after blowing up Quicksilver's statue. It's fun to let the lion out.
Yep.
yeah,
I love that.
yeah,
And when she does the same with the Duke of Hands, when she's like, "No, I'm not restraining myself for you. I am being full badass on this one."
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice to
and
show a little fang.
yeah. The Duke of Hands one is really cool of the interrogation that, and we get to see of
Yeah.
that Ephraim didn't let us in on because he's high on Zoladone. We learned that from Holiday. How did Ephraim get through this? Zoladone. But where Theodora has to go through of like, these are the pheromones he's letting out. And this is the scent and all of this. And well, no, but it's fine because Mustang was raised in such a manner that her own brain kicks in to be against his reaction. Like, it's so interesting that.
And the biochemistry behind that is so deep. Like,
Yeah.
and you can train those responses. It's been shown, but that's some deep ass biochemistry. That
Yeah.
you're double doctorate level for that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. And the fact that she's like, "Oh, it smells like what was it? Roses and what's the other thing?"
Poppy seed
Pep.
oil.
Yeah.
Poppy seed
Yeah.
oil.
It's like, oh, that is, and the fact that those are both linked with aphrodisiacs.
Yeah.
That is that was so cool. Yeah, the
Yeah.
biochemist had fun with that one too. I was like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a cool thing of, she knows her own strength through her own genetic mutation. I don't know if that's the word, but
Modification.
modification. Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, it's just a really cool that she's able to do that. And you see her and Theodora back and forth in that moment of, trusting Theodora after she.
Oh yeah, she had to re-earn her trust.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. But that leads us into what I think is the biggest relationship conversation of this section is the goblin has arrived.
Yep,
Just
love that.
Before
Yeah.
Virginia goes, they have this quick little they have their discussion, and Theodora is basically says, you'll want the salts, and Virginia says, please, this horse rides for only one man.
Yes!
And I'm like,
That is, yes!
Love it.
Love
And
it.
as a married man, that makes my heart sing. I'm like, yeah.
yeah.
No man can take my place. Yep. That is music. That is
Yes.
beautiful.
That's such a good line.
So good.
Oh yeah.
But then we get the threat. The threat to Dancer of, oh, sorry. Like, and Dancer immediately being like, you can't hand me over to him. You can't. You like.
The Duke.
Sorry, the Duke. The
Yeah.
Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, he's like, I have rights.
Yeah.
Do you though?
It's not him. Not him. It's gonna suck. It's okay. This is where. Okay. I'm gonna dip back into Star Wars. Everyone knew Vader was a badass. Everyone knew Boba Fett was badass. But we never got to see them being a badass. All of a sudden in Rogue One, they show Vader being a badass.
Oh, yeah.
I want Pierce to do, and I know in the gala he said he wrote, however many pages, chapters, whatever, OVs of Severo. Fuck, I want that. God damn it. I want that. Don't deny me that. I want to see Severo unleash the goblin. I want to see what made Jackal so fucking scared of him. I want to see what has made the society so scared of him. I want to see what has made Syndicate so scared. I want to see Severo go full fucking goblin mode. But
Well, we get kind of tidbits in this of that he's been ripping apart the syndicate, and that one of the dukes, not the Duke of Hands, but a different duke, is like
Duke of
Heads.
Ooh,
The Duke of Heads.
I think it is the Duke of Heads.
But he's
What?
like
Duke of Heads
eaten
is
by
dead.
piranhas or something. Like
Wasn't he in the pool or something like that?
Yeah,
The hook was in his skeleton.
Yeah, it's just a hook and his skeleton left because whatever the fish, piranhas or whatever, ate him. And like you just learn that like apparently body parts just keep showing up on Virginia's doorstep. Like, what the fuck is this?
I have an assistant who, when she was renting a house in a little town, a little podunk town, and she was outside of the little podunk town, she inherited a farm cat with it. And the farm cat, to ingratiate itself to her and her husband, would drop off dead mice and dead badger babies on the doorstep. And I'm like, wait, the cat fucking kills badgers? And she's like, uh-huh. And drops them off on the front doorstep? Uh-huh. And one time I walked out and it was just a whole spilled gut pile of badger guts. And I'm like, the fuck? And yeah, the cat's name was Croaky because apparently one of these times it got in a fight, it got injured so bad that it couldn't meow. So it, and it was Croaky. So I think of Severo when I hear this and I'm like, oh God, it's Croaky in literature form. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah. My cats luckily my cats are indoor cats except for we have a balcony. And it's like a 5-foot by 10-foot balcony. It is not big. And at one point I was sitting in my living room and I look under and I'm on the couch and I can see underneath the dining room table. And I went, that's a toy I've never seen before. And it was a dead sparrow. Luckily no blood. Like it literally looked like it just dropped dead. Like I don't know if the cat just like punctured it and then left it. It was like great.
The dog Kai's done that. She's caught birds when they're like swooping her and she's crunched them that it just killed them on impact and there's no blood. So it's easy cleanup.
Yeah. I think that is a good call out though of like the like leaving limbs. And then I just really like when we get the scene and you get that it's Virginia, Holiday, and Theodora sitting there drinking their tea. And this idea that all of the howlers are just in the rafters and they're just calling
30 meters up, like
they're all just calling up, being like, what do you think? Like, what kind of tea is it?
oh no. Pebble drops down.
Yes,
and she's relaying back and forth.
I love that.
Like Virginia can't hear her, or can't hear Severo.
Internal
it's Wolfbane. It's Wolfbane.
Yeah.
I fucking love that.
Of course it fucking is Wolfbane.
And then this is where we get I don't like fucking tea.
I knew you couldn't see color in that thing.
Yeah.
But
shit, it is coffee.
Mm-hmm. But it's a really interesting.
And it's like,
sorry, go on.
Yeah, and it's like Virginia's like he tries to act like he's not desperate for his stash of Jamaican Blue Mountain. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the back and forth between Severo and Mustang, that it is the same relationships we have seen this entire time of they still don't trust each other. And like there is clearly like he's like, you are Virginia, you are the sovereign, you are like, and he's the one who calls out of like, Darrow always said there was a difference and I'm seeing it now. That like this
I would trust Mustang, but you ain't her.
Yeah like it's a really interesting play. And then the fact that he's there though, which betrays Victra, and like that kind of interesting that you then know that Victra really doesn't want anything to do with Mustang right now.
Well, and I think that is where you see a little bit of the psychology difference between men and women. Victra will never let this go. She will hold this grudge until she is ash. And I think you can say the same of Mustang. fact that Victor wouldn't leave Virginia to handle it like the sovereign she was, Virginia will hold this grudge. So Severo, as being both the husband and the friend of the husband, but that husband's not here, so he has to play the diplomat. He has to bow and say, okay, I realize, I have to be the in-between because my balls are in the vice either way. And it's going to hurt either way. And these two are not talking to each other, and they need to. So fine. Fuck it. Fine. I'll be the in-between. Never bow my ass. Fedor called it. His balls were the wedding gift that he gave to Victra all those years ago. Because as a husband, you can be right or you can be happy. You can't have both.
Yeah.
Happiness. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he's not married to Mustang, so he's going to play his hand exactly as his wife tells him. But see, here's the thing. Okay, he knows he's betraying Victra, but Victra told him exactly what Mustang was going to say, so Victra knew this was going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like Victor knows.
Yeah, Victor knows. Hell, she damn near sent him there. Like, I'm not talking to the bitch. You talk to her.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is very interesting that they clearly have some communication, but not a lot over all of this. And I think also just how we do get the famous, infamous, I think, editing error in this part where Severo is referred to as Virginia's brother's best friend instead of husband's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
But
at that point, it's a really big difference.
Yeah. But she does call out a lot of times and uses almost these endearing things of my son's godfather.
Yep.
Right? And uses all these endearing terms to Severo, but it is always through somebody else's connection. It is my husband's best friend. It is my son's godfather. Like, it is not ever that they are, the first degree, which is very interesting.
The Sovereign's Imperator, where
Yeah.
she creates even her own separation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very interesting ploy, or mindset. I don't think ploy, but mindset of that difference.
Mental distancing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But we do then get, he eventually does go along with the ploy, and we get that there's 25 of the howlers are there and ready to back, and
25 of the deadliest killers among 8 billion, whatever, 18 billion. Was it 8 billion or 18 billion? Whatever it was. I think you have 25 of the baddest motherfuckers in one room. You got 25 Samuel L. Jacksons looking at this going,
yeah.
All right, what are we doing, boss?
Yep.
Yeah. And then we get where Skipper lost the reading because she fell asleep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I only got to chapter 27. So I don't know what's happening. I'm going to go back to I'll sit over here and eat some cookies. You have fun.
So we get our discussion between Virginia and Severo, Dancer. And Dancer is totally blindsided by this meeting because, he wouldn't have taken it if he knew what was happening.
Yep. Deanna.
And yeah. And he is, she knows he's going to be pissed.
Oh, yeah.
And Virginia, Deanna knows he's going to be pissed. Virginia knows he's going to be pissed.
Yep.
And, shocking, right? He's pissed when he comes in.
He's pissed.
And he almost leaves, and Deanna's like, no, sit your fucking ass down.
Right.
And
Scariest woman in this thing, not Victra.
Yeah. And then we get Severo showing up, and we learn what's on the holo drop. And we
Yep.
learn that Dancer's playing Hide the Pit Viper with the Duke of Hands, which that's the absolute best
Yep.
euphemism.
Mhm.
Oh.
So red.
And oh my god, yeah.
As red as bloody
And
dam.
yeah, more possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. And we learn that Dancer's clan, like,
Yeah.
they castrated him. They
Right?
cast him out for the fact that
Homophobia.
he's gay.
Yep.
Like, and then Ares comes along and he fixes him. He like he
Everything.
heals him, he saves him, he gives him a purpose, like, and he tells Severo, like, you know, I wasn't your father's favorite, I wasn't his best, but I was the only one who believed like he did.
Yep.
And man, like, what a powerful scene.
The crazy thing about all that is Dancer thought it was a shakedown. He thought he was
Yeah.
being blackmailed for being gay. Meanwhile, you have the gold who don't give a fuck. They're as pansexual as it gets. I
Yep.
don't
Yep.
care. It's whatever is good at the moment.
Yep.
No, I mean, you go to Valley I Wrath, and it's just like, fuck, if it has two legs, hell if it doesn't have two legs.
It yeah.
And the fact that it
If it's
is
got a
so
pulse, maybe.
right, yeah, even then, you have Dancer who is so he is seeing through red lenses, and Mustang is seeing through gold lenses. Severo, thankfully, is seeing through both, in where I think we really do get to see a level of Severo's intelligence. I mean, as they said in the Institute, it's hard to believe that all of these psychos are also geniuses.
Yeah.
But Severo sees it. He's like, Leo, we don't care where you hide the pit viper. It's the fact that you hid the pit viper with who's third in line in
Thrown in the
Syndicate.
syndicate. Yeah, like,
We don't care what you do with it. But this dude is fucking dangerous. And
yeah,
then I
it's
think the
who you
shock
did it
that
with. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Mhm,
specifically this one person
mhm.
Yeah.
that you did it with.
It's not
Is
what,
like,
it's who.
yeah,
Yeah. And I think even we talked about how well Mustang reads people, and I agree, she does. She really does read people. She missed here.
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, absolutely, she did.
She missed here, and it happens. And she says that she's like, "Look, I make mistakes all the time. It just I have my team that help, you know, fix my fuck ups. Because she, as a sovereign, kind of has to fuck around and find out. All right, what can I get away with? This is where Severo really read the room the best of anybody. He's like, no, it's who, and he was ready to jump in and kind of be the restraining hand, which is such a crazy thought that Severo is the restraining hand in a fight. Right, that never happens. Oh,
Yeah.
there goes a water bomb. That when Dancer gets hot and bent out of shape over something that is no, this is just the way Gold genetically engineered you. We don't have a problem with it. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what adds so much gravity to this whole thing. And I think that's also where you get from Virginia's point of view the shock value of, oh shit, you didn't know that was him. You are my leak. I swear you were the leak. You're not the leak. You're just looking for a good time and you found it, just the wrong person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I love how that catapults that into the next part.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I really like that. Um, as soon as like as soon as the air gets cleared between the three of them, it's like done. Like,
Good.
it's finished. Like, Severo busts the hollow cube, blows it away. Like, it's
History,
done.
don't care, man.
Yeah. And then they are instantly back on the same side.
Mm-hmm.
Like
All family again.
this,
Yep.
yeah, it was all political.
Yep.
Like it shows how much love there is between them. That when they come to their understanding, it's done. Like,
Back on the same page.
yeah. And that's the end of our chapters.
Yeah.
Pretty
And
much.
then it goes into Red Doves.
Yes, somebody in the den said that this is actually where the book ends. On a happy note. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
This is the end.
No,
It's
there's
been
more
great.
pain to be had. We have to figure out how much of a badass Victor is.
Yes.
Yeah, we do have a little bit more. Chapter 30, the ocular sphere.
Yes.
You know, Virginia looking over Mercury, and I believe this is when she. Oh no, she sends the supplies during her speech.
Yeah, during her
Yeah.
speech.
Um,
She has her conversation with Daxo and Kavix at the end of the ocular sphere without
yes, and
Severo in the room. She kicks him out. While
no,
Daxo,
Havoc kicks him out
Kavix kicks him out. Yep.
to go get his cane.
Yep. And he
And yeah,
tells her,
and declines to come to the meeting
oh,
or the vote.
Thank God, Kavix has been up enough.
I don't know what you're talking about. The vote goes just fine. It goes fine. That's a next episode issue. It goes fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a sweet, tender moment, and then
They do. They have
Everyone's friends again.
It's over. It's done. Like, the book's over.
That's it.
Right.
We're done.
But I feel Kavix's love.
I love
And
Kavix.
I you know how he talks about how Virginia is the daughter he never had, and how he knows that she is so well. And Thrax is her own monster. Like, can you imagine being a parent to her?
Xena, whatever.
Huh?
The other daughter, Xena, and the unnamed
Xena.
daughter.
Yeah.
Zana.
Yeah, I know. But
And we
Thraxa,
still
can you imagine
have...
me?
Oh my god, no.
Can you imagine being dad to Thraxa? Can you imagine the amount of shit she broke? She's only happy when she's fighting. Talk about Captain Marvel in the Red Rising universe. That is Thraxa out telling us, I am only happy when I am totally fucking shit up. Watch me burn. But look at Mustang, and to know that he has been as much of a father to her as Nero was, more so.
More so.
At least in the emotional standpoint. Although I still think in this section, Virginia gets much more respect for what her father was going through than she ever did before.
Mm-hmm.
But to know that Kavix was her emotional anchor, and to actually have him stop her, grab her by the face, and say, "No, shut up and listen. Stop plotting. Stop thinking. Stop the gears for a second." You know, working in an office full of women, I know that their brains never stop, and to get her to stop. Oh, I saw that look. Yeah.
No, that was my agreement.
Yeah. Working in an office full of women, they never fucking stop, and they don't sleep either because they don't fucking stop. But to know that Kavix probably actually did get her to have all the gears hit full stop for that sliver of a moment, you deserve this.
Yeah.
You have done so well. I am, implied, I am so proud of you. There's, as a dad, that rings so true. And when you get to look at your children and tell them how proud you are of them, and how much you know that they personally put into something that they succeeded in, that meant something to them. As a father, that is so heartfelt and so touching,
Mm-hmm.
and it's it's hard not to even get just a little bent sideways over that. I know with my own kids, when I see them find something they're passionate about and find something that they want to do well at, and find something where they honest to God give their full effort, and not only do they their full effort, but it succeeds, and then they know that, okay, well, that's the expectation. Well, I succeeded, so now I'm going to move on to the next thing. I'm going to succeed at that. And to stop them and actually get them to appreciate that I noticed, and that I, as their father, feel how amazing that is, that I got to see them grow and do that and succeed. I want them to soak in that moment, because youth is wasted on the young, and our children will never understand how amazing they are until they've gone far past that moment. And if they hang on to it, it's amazing. And if they don't, it's life. And so for him to stop her and say, you deserve this. I know what you've done. I know how well you succeeded. And when she says, shame on me for thinking my strength was in his body and not in his spirit. And for him to, he doesn't get strength from his own internal, he does get it from his own internal spirit, but he gets it from seeing the success of his heirs,
Yeah.
whether they're blood or they're not. And Virginia is his daughter. They're not by blood, but by matching of souls. And I felt his pride when he told her, "You deserve this."
Yeah.
So I think if you want to say the book ended there, I'd sign off on that. I would so sign off on that.
And it did.
Yep.
So
for this episode,
No more book. Sorry, guys. Podcast
it
over.
has been so great having you tonight, Drillbit.
you.
Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you
Yes.
for all your
Thank you for having me.
insight. Yeah, you're fantastic. You're welcome back whenever. We promised you we'll do a Star Wars Red Rising one just for you.
Oh God, that'll be 5 hours long. I'm so sorry.
I'm sure there's people who would watch.
Actually, there is some pretty Star Wars people in this in our den, and I think they would have some great insight in this, especially in terms of some of the newer stuff. I didn't drop off when Disney bought it. I was really pumped, but I'm sure there are some of our group that probably understand some of the Disney nuances better than I do. I'm old, but I would love to bring in the EU point from that. So.
Be great.
But yes, thank you for having me on. This was a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for coming. Thank you for drinking whiskey with us.
Hell yes.
And Oreos
and
Girl Guide cookies.
Yeah.
I had 2 glasses of scotch. And then
I don't want to say how much whiskey
3 of Kahlua. Yeah.
Enough.
Enough.
The correct amount.
Ooh. Yeah. Thank you everyone for watching, for listening, however you're taking this in. Join us in the Howler's Den. All of us are moderators, which is a very scary thought. Drillbit is actually who chances are will name you. He is one of our master namers when it comes to the Howler names.
I throw a few of them out there.
Yeah.
I throw some fun ones out there.
Yeah.
Hydro got her from me. That one I don't mind claiming. That was a good one. A little modification from Salem's Den, but I don't mind claiming that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So join us in the Howler's Den. Show us your den dunks on Instagram. Make sure to tag us if you're doing them so we can see them. And have a good night, everybody. We'll see you next week on what I'm sure will be a bright and shiny episode.
Yeah, very lighthearted.
We'll have
no
some
problems
laughs.
episode.
Fun, Salem.
Absolutely.
Yes, Salem joins us next week.
Yeah,
it is the middle of the book, but she's got to join us twice during Dark Age because, So
dark.
Yeah, there's some serious Mustang moments in this book, and we know that Salem is our resident Mustang stan.
Yep.
Mustang, if you will.
Love it. All right. Thanks, everybody. Peace out.
Until next time.